This is the Bilal Vakani Hour on Canada Talk's SiriusXM 167. Joined now by Canadian comedian Dan Galea and award-winning journalist, filmmaker, comedian, and author of 8 books, Harmon Leon, to chat about their AI versus human roast battle. It's Sunday, December 1st at 7 p.m. at the Pit Loft, which I'm told is in New York City. Dan, great to talk to you again.
Hey, thanks, man. Good to talk to you, too.
Harmon, great to talk to you again, and not just because it's not a robocall from Leon's asking me to go to some VIP furniture event, which I just can't afford to buy more furniture.
Yeah, you just explained that joke to me because I'm from New York. But actually, the show is December 7th at the Cave, not the Pit Loft. December 1st is at the Pit Loft in New York. And I'm bringing the show, which I created here in Brooklyn, all the way up to Toronto, and I'm just really excited.
Amazing. So let's kick this off because, as you said, Harmon, you're hosting. Dan apparently has a valid passport. That's the big story here. I assume they just revoked his passport at some point. But, you know, Harmon has all of these amazing credentials and has already corrected me on when the show is. So he's already a better host of this than I am. Dan, much like yourself, what exactly is your contribution at this point? Because it feels like you and I should just step aside and let him take over.
Yeah, I actually am just, I have this new venue called The Cave. It just opened like 3 weeks ago. It's at 928 Bloor Street West in Toronto. And it's in the back room of this place called Teddy Beer. And basically Harmon reached out and we decided that we were going to bring his show AI versus Human Roast Battle to Toronto and throw it out there in the cave and see what happens. So, yeah, we're excited to have him. I'm just kind of helping produce the show with him, and he's got the rest. He's going to host it, and we got some great people that I can let Harmon talk about.
Well, look, you've got a freestyle rapper taking on a machine learning AI in a dystopian roast battle to determine the fate of comedy humanity. And I'm not making this up. This is in your own notes for this show.
I wrote the blurb.
How high were you guys when you came up with this? Honestly.
No, I mean, I was working. I always been a digital artist and a comedian who's created comedy shows with a lot of multimedia in tech. And in around 2022, I was working as an art journalist, interviewing a lot of AI artists, and I got to picking their brain. This was pre-Chat GPT. You know, could this be applied to comedy? And the answer to that, yes. And proof of that, the show on December 7th. So it's basically a human. We started once with comedians, and now we've segued into freestyle rappers because it's just so fun to see the human outpace the AI in comedy and creativity, though the AI is pretty creative.
And Dan, are there improv components to this as well, or am I reading old notes? Because the more I say things, the more I feel like I'm reading old notes.
Right. So there's 2 shows that Harmon's bringing. So one at 7 o'clock. It's called That 80s Improv Challenge. And then the one at 9 is called AI versus Human Roast Battles. And That 80s Improv Challenge is like, they show clips, I think, of like 80s, TV shows, commercials, stuff like that. And then the improvisers do a scene based on that clip. And then we have judges like Scott Thompson from Kids in the Hall and Sean Cullen and Tyra Banda. And like Miguel Rivas is going to be a judge for the AI versus Human Roast Battle, along with Amy Cunningham. And it's going to be really super fun. I'm excited.
Harmon,
and our battler, Nicole.
Yeah, Nicole Passmore is our battler that night. Should be good.
So you know what's interesting is I do a lot of stuff. I do a lot of comedy stuff. And by that, I mean interview people who are actually good at it, not, telling bad jokes to comedians. And it's interesting because I've never talked about an AI show. And I could understand from a Canadian perspective because we have a tenth of your population, Harmon, and we're not going to figure stuff out as quickly. But even from my U.S. comedian friends, some of them have been on America's Got Talent. Some of them have had specials on various platforms. They're not doing this either. So why has this been a bit of a blind spot in the comedy world up until this point?
Oh, does it go to me?
Yeah, sorry.
Well, it's first because the technology wasn't there. So again, like I said, I've always been a comedian who uses multimedia. And when I got the idea in 2022, it just stood as a post-it note, on my wall, AI versus human roast battle. And once ChatGPT came in a few months later, it was like, okay, this is feasible, but also, and I basically use about 12 different AI platforms to create the shows, because it's like, first, all the jokes are generated by ChatGPT. All the voices are cloned by a platform called 11 Labs. All the avatars are created like in 2 rounds. They get roasted by an AI villain. It could be, say, AI Tucker Carlson, or AI Elon Musk, or AI Marjorie Taylor Greene, or, which confuses people, is like AI Mr. Rogers, because when he starts going evil, you don't know where your allegiance goes. And in this show, it's going to be AI Santa Claus taking it on. But again, it's like, takes me about 6 different platforms to create the shows, because you're actually seeing the physical avatar of AI Santa Claus, and he's speaking, and he has the voice, and it's being generated by ChatGPT.
Okay, my mind,
and
yeah.
And you want one more?
Sure.
Like the blow for mine. In the final round, that's 2 rounds, AI Santa Claus. And spoiler alert, if you're coming to the show, the final round, the roast battler battles an AI version of themselves. Whoa!
My mind was already blown, but now I'm having heartburn. It's so I it makes sense. Dan,
yeah. Can they out-funny their AI doppelganger?
Would people's experience be enriched by going on ChatGPT before and poking around with this stuff? Does that give you more immersion when you get into it, or do you think maybe it's better to go into this not even having touched these platforms and just being like, is this real? Is this fake? What is happening? How does this work? Which is the better way to go into this show?
First, wanting to laugh.
Yeah.
For the comedy show, second, I think, I think everyone has a fair knowledge of AI, on various degrees. We've all used ChatGPT now. But again, I think, just having we get 2 types of crowds. We get the comedy crowd, and we also get the tech crowd coming in and just seeing how these, tools are being utilized in a creative sort of capacity. So, in the end, it's a comedy show, and the metrics there is laughter.
Dan, what drew you to Harmon and this concept? Because what was the last show? I don't know if it was you or Pat Thornton, and you were working with Pat, and it was a canoe thing. You've done some very gimmicky is not the right word, because I don't think they're actually gimmicks. I think they're a reflection of the times we're in and the things people want to do. But what drew you to this, I guess, emerging subgenre of comedy, if you will?
Yeah, well, I've actually been super, since I guess it started becoming public, I've been really into just seeing what's available in terms of AI. I'm just I always want to be in the know. I don't know if I like it or hate it or what, but I know that I want to know about it. And I know that it's going to be really bad, and I know it's going to be really good. You know what I mean? So these are the things I know about AI, and it's very interesting to me. And we have a mutual friend named Jean-Francois, and he kind of put us in touch because he knows that I'm a producer and he's doing the show, and we're both into AI. And so it sounded really interesting. And when I looked up all of Harmon's credentials and stuff, it was a no-brainer. Just kind of this guy seems really cool. He's super funny, and I wanted to bring it up to Toronto because I feel like it's a super interesting concept for a show. It's not taking away any jobs. It's literally its character is the AI, and we're battling an AI. You know what I mean? So it's I like it. I just like the whole concept and everything. So I'm excited to see it. And plus, we got to bring all these amazing improvisers like Ken Hall and Rob Baker and Chris Siddiqui and Laura Silovitz and Nigel Downer and all those people to the cave. And Harmon gets to play with them. So that's great.
I gotta let you guys go in a minute here, but Harmon, I think what's amazing to me is now we're using AI and some of the captions for some of our video clips here at SiriusXM. And the biggest takeaway is just, maybe it doesn't know a name or it gives me the American spelling of something instead of the Canadian spelling. But essentially, when we make the move from whatever American software we're using, it doesn't deserve a plug, they're not paying me, to whatever Canadian software will have it, there isn't a lot of gaps in using these tools effectively in the right applications, which is a simple thing to say, but it is just kind of amazing when you step back and think of the amount of things that this works its way into in our society already, and that's only going to expand over time.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, some people say it's going to take jobs away, but I guess the adage is people who know how to use AI are going to take the jobs away, because, it's just another creative tool in the toolbox. And every time there's like a new release in AI in either video, sophistication, or say now AI has the ability to take your voice and dub it into a foreign language, I incorporate those things into the show. And it's just kind of exciting what creativity you can come up with by Frankensteining all these sort of platforms together.
Canadian comedian Dan Galea, award-winning journalist, filmmaker, comedian, author of 8 books. I don't even know if I read 8 books this year. Harmon, Leon, we're chatting about their AI versus human roast battle. In an attempt to not be replaced by AI hosting this show, Dan, fill in the rest of the details of when the show is and where people can get ticket information. I'm trying to host this in a slightly above AI way.
No, yeah. It's December 7th at The Cave in Toronto. That's 928 Bloor Street West in the back of Teddy Beer. And you can get tickets at thecaveto.ca/events, or you could just go to thecaveto.ca and press the ticket link, and you'll be able to get tickets there. Tickets are $25. And like I said, it's just a stacked show with so many Canadian celebrities on it and the best improvisers in the country, plus this guy, Harmon Leon. So I don't know if he's below me on the show, but there he is.
I'm too lazy to even post the video clips, but he's above you in my screen. Thank you both.
Okay, cool.
That's it for the Bilal Vakani Hour. If you missed my chat with WWE superstar and Canadian Chelsea Green about Survivor Series War Games, which is in Vancouver, you can find that on the SiriusXM app. We've also got Manchester City legends talking about bringing their trophy to Toronto. That's Sean Wright Phillips and Needham Onua. You can get that as well. And if you missed any of my chat with Canadian comedian Dan Galea and award-winning journalist, filmmaker, comedian, and author of 8 books, Harmon Leon, you can get that as well. They're doing a human versus AI roast battle as a comedy show. Just fascinating stuff. And also my chat with TSN racing analyst Tim Haraney on the Vegas Grand Prix fallout. All of that's on the SiriusXM app. Next week, I'm off, so you'll get a replay of some of my best interviews of the last month or so. As always, you can follow me at BilalV87 on Twitter and Instagram, and we'll chat with you soon.